Okay, let's start our class, and everybody, it's very welcome. This is the adult education meeting, Temple Bethel Riverside, and I'm very excited because you know that I recently visited Spain, specifically Segovia. Segovia, it's a very nice city, just a couple of miles from Madrid, just 1 hour drive from Madrid. And when you walk in Segovia, you discover the Jewish Quarter. The Jewish Quarter is very important. It's a very nice place to visit. But it's not just the Jewish Quarter. It's very important to discover, or to rediscover the Jewish history of the Spain community, the Jewish Spain community. We need to remember that if we are looking at the history, we have an important point that it's the year 1492. It's the year of the Inquisition. And when the Catholic king and queen expelled the Jewish from the peninsula. And we need to remember that the same process happened in Portugal. Spain and Portugal, who embraced Catholicism, they expelled the Jews. And this is one of the reasons that when Colombo arrives to America, he arrives with many Jews who were expelled from Spain. And the same happened with Cabral. When he arrived to America from Portugal, he came with many Jewish sailors. And this is the beginning of also from the Jewish life in South America and also in the Caribbean area. But let's go back to Spain. And when you walk in Segovia, you can find in the floor, you can find in the different streets a word that in Hebrew means Spain, that it's Sfarad. The way that we call Spain in Hebrew, it's Sfarad, and it's written in Hebrew, Sfarad. It's very easy to see, and I will show you this soon. But to introduce this evening, we have a guest, and the special guest is Rabbi Jaime Casas, who is a Spanish rabbi, and he will talk about what's going on today with the Jewish community, and I will ask him about the past and the present of the Jewish community. Let's share. Now it's very late in Spain. This is the reason that I recorded before this conversation with Rabbi Casas. Just to let you know, now in Spain it's 4 a.m. It's a little early to talk directly or to talk live with Rabbi Casas. Then this is the reason that we recorded. Let me share my screen, and let me share this nice conversation with Rabbi Casas. Can you see the screen?
Not yet.
No, but it's black.
Black.
No.
That's all we see. Yeah.
Perfect. Let's go. Let's open. Let me open. No, not here. This. Okay.
Good.
It's a great pleasure to receive here in our adult education meeting Rabbi Jaime Casas from Spain. In this evening, dear Jaime, we are going to talk about the roots of the Jewish in Sfarad. I just came back from Segovia, and I was walking in the Jewish quarter. And we need to say that Spain, it's a land of famous rabbis, Haim Casas, Rabbi Moshe ben Nachman, Rabbi Shlomo ben Adret, Rabbi Yosef Karo, Rabbi Abraham ben Ezra, Rabbi Yehuda Levi, Rabbi Moshe ben Maimon, and of course, my dear friend, Rabbi Haim Casas. You like to introduce yourself? Who is Rabbi Haim Casas?
Wow, this is like doing therapy. Who I am. So I'm an Andalusian guy, born in Cordoba. And I always describe Andalusia as, Andalusia, although officially we are in the West, Andalusia is not the West and it's not the East. It's both. Andalusia actually reminds me a bit of what Israel is. Israel, yes, officially is in the Middle East, but Israel is the East and the West. That's the beauty of Israel. I think that's the beauty of Andalusia. So I'm a passionate person, born in Cordoba, someone who discovered his Jewish roots in a very young age, thanks to his grandfather, someone who eventually became a cultural Jew, someone who then converted to Judaism. I devoted my life to Jewish heritage, although initially was a lawyer. Then I founded the first Reform community in Andalusia. And then I decided to move to London. I got my training, my rabbinic training at the Lubbock College, and I was ordained. So who I am, I'm a mix of everything. Nowadays, I'm describing myself as a Marrano Jew of the 21st century. That means, and I talk in total freedom, for the Jews, I'm not Jewish enough. And for the Christians, I'm very Jewish. So finally, I'm between. So who is Rabbi Haim Casas? An Andalusian guide, someone who is a bridge between people, cultures, traditions, someone who is in the middle, and someone who wants just to bring people together.
Thank you very much for this definition. And also, it's a great flamenco dancer, Rabbi Casas, or not?
No, I don't dance flamenco. When I dance, it's not exactly flamenco. It's folk Andalusian. It's not exactly flamenco. It's Sevillanas.
Okay.
It's kind of flamenco folk dancing, whose origins go back to the 18th century, and that we dance in the main festivities here. The flamenco I dance improvising. But what I really dance now this Saturday is the beginning of the fair in Cordoba, is Sevillanas, which is the traditional folk dancing from Seville. I love dancing in general anyway.
Haim, when we are talking about Spain, when we are visiting Spain, we can find these roots, we can find this heritage, we can discover the splendor, but when we are talking about the Jewish quarters in different places, in different states, or in different cities or village, we are talking about the past. And it's really very difficult to find Jews in Spain. How you can explain how is today the Jewish community in Spain, and how is the relationship between the nowadays communities with the past, with the splendor of the Jewish Spanish culture?
Wow, it's maybe you don't realize you're touching very different and very complex topics. First, for European standards, the Spanish Jewish community is not small. It is not small. We are talking about something between 30 and 40,000 Jews. Yes, if you compare that to the North American standards, that's tiny. But more populated countries like Italy, I think Italy got about 60 million inhabitants, Spain 49. We got double of the of the Jewish population than Italy. I think that bigger than Spain, bigger than the Jewish community of Spain in Europe is only France. With about 600,000. Let's say the UK with around 200,000. I think Germany is close to around 200,000. Most of the German Jews today are actually of Russian origins. I think, and after that is Spain. So actually, it's not that small. It's not that it's true that the Jewish population of Spain is very much concentrated in Madrid, Barcelona, and then here in Andalusia, we have the Costa del Sol. So we have Malaga, Torremolinos, Marbella, which is mostly a community of expats, mostly Brits and French retired Jews that they come to, they come to the south to enjoy their lives on their good pensions. True, you have mentioned Segovia, we can talk about Cordoba, we can talk about Toledo. It is true that in the historical cities in which we had in the past the main Jewish communities, nowadays, or there is not community, or the community is very small. So that's one thing. The Jewish community of nowadays, how we look at the past, I'm not sure we're looking at the past. I think Spain in general, and our Jewish community in Spain nowadays, so Jews and non-Jews, in nowadays society, we have a deficit, also a lack of knowledge of our past. I think the Jewish people and the Spanish people, they're not conscious of what Sepharad was and what it is. The Spanish people, they're not conscious that we cannot understand Spain without the Jewish people. And the Jewish people, they're not aware that we cannot understand Judaism without Spain. So that's the work of us, rabbis, educators, me as a tour guide. It's a really hard work because also you have mentioned your visit to Spain. It is also very challenging to do a visit to Jewish Spain, because we are talking about the heritage that for 500 years we have tried to erase. Now we want to recover what we've been trying to erase for 500 years. So it's very challenging. And also because when we come to visit Jewish Spain, we need to be conscious that Jewish heritage is mostly intangible. We human beings, we need to touch and to see. When we don't touch, we think that there is nothing. So we come to Cordoba. I live very close. I live in the countryside, but very close to Cordoba. You come to Cordoba, and what you can visit is a tiny synagogue of only 24 square meters. That's what it was left from all the Golden Age. So even sometimes well-educated Jews, they come and they're very disappointed. But we need to understand that our Jewish heritage is in philosophy, spirituality, poetry. So the fact that we cannot touch things, that doesn't mean that they don't exist.
How are you feeling when you enter, for example, to a church that you know that in the past was a synagogue, for example? It was very strange for me to enter to Santa Maria la Blanca in Toledo. I remember I was walking around the city and I wear a kippah to enter to Santa Maria la Blanca, but in fact I was entered to a church, that it was a mosque, that it was a temple, a synagogue. And it's really, there are many people there selling Christian handcraft. How are you feeling this? And for example, when you visit other places that nowadays are churches.
Rabbi Gershon, I told you from the beginning, I'm a Marrano Jew from the 21st century. That means they feel equally comfortable and uncomfortable walking into a church and walking into a synagogue.
Okay.
Both equally comfortable and uncomfortable.
It's a
Listen,
mix of feeling. Yes, I had the same feelings. Mix of feelings. Yes. I
this
agree with you.
synagogue, they have survived. Nowadays it's very, trendy to speak about recycling. We like being green and recycling. Those synagogues, they have survived because they were recycled and they were used as churches. If they had not been used as churches, they would have disappeared. So at some point we have to be thankful that they were turned into churches. Like what you say, we have synagogues that before being synagogues, they were mosques. And in Cordoba, there is a place where nowadays St. Peter Church, that was a Roman pagan temple. Then it was a Visigothic church. Then it was a mosque. And then again a church. Basically, the same place has been a place devoted to spirituality for the last 2,000 years. Me, I'm okay, but I understand that for some of our Jewish visitors, what they feel is that someone stole their identity, their heritage. But again, we need to go back to the definition of what Jewish heritage is. And we need to be proud. Look at what Abraham Heschel used to say. Shabbat is our cathedrals. Jewish heritage, our cathedrals, they're not built with stones. They're built in spirituality, in philosophy. And that's also why Judaism has survived, because it was not something that was around physical things. If our spirituality depended on buildings, but thanks God, the world is our temple.
Good. You know that you mentioned the culture, the philosophy, and when I talk about different rabbis, of course they gave us nice literature. We have a lot of also Passover Agadot that came from Spain. That it's part of this heritage, which is the place of the Ladino nowadays, between the Jewish who live in Spain?
Yeah, first of all, I had the great privilege of taking care during his visit to Cordoba many years ago. I took care of Jaime Vidal Cefija. Jaime Vidal Cefija was the king of Judo-Spanish Ladino language. He was a Holocaust survivor from Auschwitz. He devoted his life to preserve the memories of the Judaic Spanish-speaking people in Auschwitz, because sometimes we have a tendency to see the Shoah as an Ashkenazi reality, but we cannot forget that the capital of Ladino or Judaic Spanish language, which was Salonika, Thessaloniki, that community was exterminated, and that the center of that language and that culture was exterminated under Shoah.
Yes.
We need to make a difference. I know maybe it is a bit academic. One thing is Ladino, and the other thing is Judeo-Español. Ladino is the literal translation, word by word, of the Hebrew text into Spanish. And obviously, that's not the same way people speak. That you take the Bible, Bereshit, Bara Elohim, and you translate word by word. It's like some modern editions of the Torah, that you got the Hebrew, and right under the Hebrew, you have the English or the Spanish. And that's Ladino, a literal translation that then normally was written with Hebrew characters. And Judaic Spanish is mostly the spoken language. The situation, and then Spain. Our Sephardic Jewish community in Spain, first of all, we need to understand that not all Jews in Spain are Sephardic. We have A lot of our Jews are coming from Spanish Morocco, and these people spoke something they call Haketia. Haketia is the Judeo-Español of North Africa, which is different from the Judeo-Spanish of Turkey. Haketia is a mix of Hebrew, medieval Spanish, and Moroccan Arabic. So really, properly, the language that some people in Spain speak or grow or understand is Haketia. But then we have, and you know that very well, when the dictatorship in Argentina, there was a big migration of Argentinian Jews to Spain. Most of them were Ashkenazim. So the Spanish Jewish community nowadays is very diverse. Then what happened with the Haketia, the Judaic Spanish? From early 20th century, the education in most of the Jewish schools in the Sephardic diaspora was provided by a French Jewish foundation, the Alliance Israélite Universelle. The education was given in French, and French was seen as the language of, well-educated people. So we already can see how we stopped some speaking Judeo-Spanish, and we start speaking other languages like French. Nowadays, the situation of Judeo-Spanish, only very old people speak it. And nowadays, there is some initiatives, there are some universities in which they are trying to teach that, to study. But let's say that has become a language which is preserved mostly by the academia, so scholars, and music. Music, is playing a very important role because many people, they don't speak Ladino, Judeo-Spanish anymore, but they still sing all Judeo-Spanish songs. But it's a dying language. It's part, Rabbi Gershon, of la globalization that we have in the Jewish world. I mean, it gets out of my nerves when I see that almost everywhere I go for Shabbat, they have the same halot for Shabbat. Is that all Jews ate the same bread for Shabbat? No, I'm sure there were local recipes. It gets out of my nerves when I see that in every community for Purim they eat ham and tashen or sufganiot in Hanukkah. During the last century, we have lost a lot of the cultural diversity of the Jewish people in terms of languages, in terms of recipes, in terms of the diversity of interpretation of Jewish law. Nowadays we have Orthodox, Reform, Masorti. Is Judaism only 3 branches? So it's a pity, but it's like that. We are losing a lot of the diversity.
I know that it's very late in Spain, and I really appreciate your time. But just last 2 questions. Can we say that Jewish arrived to Spain during the Roman Empire, or not?
We can prove by me that I grew up in Cadiz. And Cadiz was founded 3,000 years ago by the Phoenicians. Okay, so yes, the official historiography says that is, yes, during the Roman in time. I think the oldest Hebrew matzevot, Hebrew Jewish grave, are from the 200s or early 300s. And that's what we can prove. But it makes sense because we have cities like Malaga or Cadiz that were founded by the Phoenicians. And the Phoenicians were our neighbors 3,000 years ago. And Israel had a very tight relation with the Phoenicians. The Phoenicians provided the cedar wood for the construction of the temple. King Shlomo had Phoenicians concubines. So it makes sense that why not maybe already 3,000 years ago, using the Phoenician network created by the trade of the Phoenicians, maybe, because then we find references to Sepharad in the Hebrew writings. we find, prophet, when we read every year in Yom Kippur, the book of Yonah, Tarsis, one of the interpretations that actually Tarsis is Tartessos, and the Tartessos kingdom was located between Seville, Huelva, and Jerez. When we see that Yonah is trying to run far, what was the farthest way he could go? The Finisterrae was Sepharad. So maybe actually Yonah was trying to run away to Spain. And then Prophet Obadiah. So maybe I like to think that maybe 3,000 years ago. But yes, we can only prove that is from the Roman time.
Okay, and the last question. Everything started with a dream, and dreams came a reality when we are working on them. One of my dreams is to organize a group from here, from the States, to visit Spain and to be guided by you to discover the Jewish Spain heritage. If you need to give us some tips, if you would like to spend, I don't know, 7 days, 10 days, which places do you suggest to visit that it's really we can find, perhaps we can
No,
touch?
I'm not objective. I'm not objective because I'm from the south. I'm from
You are from
Andalusia.
Cordoba.
Right now, I'm organizing a trip for Georgetown University. It's going to be crazy. But they're young people. The thing is, they're young people. When they're that young, you can do crazy things. You're starting in Barcelona. We're doing Barcelona and Girona. Then we're taking the train to Madrid. We're doing Madrid, Toledo. Then we're doing Granada, Cordoba, and Seville. So we're doing basically from the north to the south. I will do something like starting in Madrid, the capital of our kingdom. Maybe then going to Toledo and then to the south. Because Toledo and Cordoba, there are two cities that are related. The Golden Age started in Cordoba, but because then the persecution led by the Berber tribes from South Morocco during the 12th century, many Jews from Cordoba moved to Toledo. So 12th century, which is the century of Maimonides, is the transition between the Golden Age of the Jewish communities in the south, then to the Jewish communities in the center and the north. But anyway, the main tip is that if we want to enjoy this trip, they will need to start learning with you in the synagogue. Because remember what I said, most of our heritage is intangible. If you don't prepare the trip before coming, you're going to miss a lot of things. So my tip is they start learning with you and they continue learning with us here during the trip.
Perfect. Okay, Rabbi Chaim Casas, you are the unique rabbi, yes, in the region, in your region.
I'm not the unique. No, I'm not the. I mean, it depends. It depends how large the region. We have Orthodox rabbis, Malaga, Torremolinos, in Marbella. There is Chabad House. Then we have Gibraltar, which, if we have time, Gibraltar is fascinating because Gibraltar was conquered by the Brits, 18th century, and you know that when they signed the Utrecht peace agreement, Spain told England, okay, you're taking Gibraltar, but you're not allowed to have Jews in Gibraltar. Yeah. And one of the first things that England did is they brought Jews from Morocco to Gibraltar. Why? Because Gibraltar was getting basic goods from Morocco because the border at that time was closed with Spain. So the oldest Jewish community in the Iberian Peninsula after the Inquisition is Gibraltar. And there is a very religious community. There are a few rabbis. So actually, I don't know how many rabbis there are in Andalusia, but I'm sure there are 4 or 5 of them. But they don't talk to me, or they talk to me very little because, I'm the different one. Thanks to God I have you.
Rabbi Casas, thank you very much for your time, for your explanations. It's a really pleasure to learn, to study with you, and I hope that soon we will organize this group from America. Perhaps many people can join us for other places of the world. Friends of Rabbi Gershom from all over the world who would like to join us in Spain.
You're a diaspora rabbi like me,
yes,
so you
exactly,
go to
exactly.
many countries like me.
Yes, yes, with nice friends in Brazil, Argentina, South Africa, and now
Beautiful.
in America. Thank you very much. We
My
have a lot
pleasure.
to study from you, from the Jewish Spain heritage, and we hope to study together more soon.
Nice. Great.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Have a good night. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye. Bye.
Okay, this is Rabbi Chaim Casas from Spain, a very interesting person to discover and to study with him. Hi, Marcia, nice to see you there. Welcome. Hi, Wendy and Randy, Linda, thank you for being there. Hi, Susan. This is the first part of our meeting, and I divided this presentation in 3 parts. First of all, to know directly for a Spanish rabbi what's going on, and it was really very clear. I prepared a short video from an Israeli singer who called Yoram Gaon. Did you hear about Yoram Gaon? Yoram Gaon, it's an Israeli singer. He keep the Sfarad roots, and he is one of the most popular Ladino singers in Israel nowadays. And many years ago, he produced a movie called From Toledo to Jerusalem, showing why the Jewish community moved from Toledo and how was the process to arrive till Jerusalem. And of course, if Rabbi Casas spoke about the splendor of the Jewish community in Spain, why they need to move to other countries? And the answer, it's a very sad answer, it's because the persecutions. Through the persecutions, rabbis, leaders, and of course the community move from from Spain, that it's in the corner of Europe, till arrive to Israel, to Jerusalem, and the different periods till they arrive to Jerusalem, they develop in the middle of the way many communities, many important communities. This is the reason why Sfarad rabbis became so popular in many other places in Europe. This is one of the parts of our meeting this evening, but also I would like to share with you some pictures, some photos that I took 2 weeks ago when I visited Segovia, and when I visited specifically the Jewish quarter of Segovia. Let's start there. Let's start to visit the narrow street of Segovia. I'm thinking that you will enjoy. As I mentioned at the beginning of this meeting, Segovia, it's a very nice city in the hills, just 1 hour drive from Madrid. But try to imagine the splendor of these cities before the Inquisition, when Jews had the opportunity to live for religion freedom. And we need to understand that in this small town, in the past, you can find 5 synagogues. Okay, try to imagine, just in a small town, 5 synagogues. It shows that it was a really a big community. Let me see. Nowadays, okay, this is the Jewish quarter, but many people live there. Here is, can you see? Yes, the pictures. Can you follow the pictures? Calle de la Judería Nueva. This is means street of the new Jews. And here it's written that in that place, during many centuries, members of the Jewish people, they write the Hebrew people, live before the Inquisition by the Catholic king and queen. This is what you can find in the floor in many streets. You can read here. You need not to read here inside. If you read here inside, if you try to discover inside, it's wrong. You need to try to read the letters, the Hebrew letters outside. And I will show you here with my mouse. Here it's written Sepharad. Sepharad. Sepharad means Spain in Hebrew. Narrow streets. Try to imagine the people riding horses in that time. Just one floor or two floor, not more than this. This is very usual in medieval constructions. Many important churches, basilicas, and you can see that it's a modern time. Yes, the parking here. Okay, the Jewish quarter. The first hint of Jewish presence in Segovia date back from the 13th century, and they place the activity and residence of this folk around the commercial area of the city, San Miguel Parish Church. We need to remember that one of the main occupation of the Jewish population, they used to work in the market, and then they occupy the commercial area of the city. In 1480, the Jews were confined in the district that nowadays known as the Jewish quarter, within the south part of the city, over the valley of the river Clamores, which separates from the Deir cemetery. And this is also something important. Till today, in small cities and big cities, the cemetery always is outside the city. Okay. Throughout their story, the Jews counted with 5 synagogues, out of which only the synagogue mayor is preserved, currently Corpus Christi Convent. If you try to discover where is the mayor synagogue, you are not going to find the synagogue. If you are going to find or look for the Corpus Christi Convent, you will see the synagogue. During the 15th century, Segovia's Alhama was one, or Alhama was one of the most important ones of the Castilian kingdom. In 1492, the Catholic monarchs signed the Edict of the Jews' expulsion, and except for the convert, the Jewish population abandoned their birth city forever. There are not Jews living in Segovia, in downtown Segovia, perhaps in the surrounding, but downtown Segovia, in the old quarter, in the Jewish quarter, in the historical city, they are not Jewish, just monuments. And this is one of the points that Rabbi Chaim Casas mentioned before. You can touch, you can see, it's difficult to understand. You are trying to enter to a synagogue, but in fact you enter inside the church. This is the synagogue, how it's looking nowadays. Yes, you can see that it's a church. But the construction also, you can see constructions that remind us the Muslim period, the Islam period. Okay, it's look like a mosque. And it's interesting because first was a synagogue. This is the process in many places in Spain. when you can find the Jewish heritage, the roots of Sfarad. First of all was a synagogue, second was a mosque, and third came a church. And sometimes it's very nice to discover. If you have time, just try to go and see the construction of the Córdoba cathedral. It's a cathedral built inside the mosque. It's something unique in the world. Barrio Judío, Jewish Quarter, Caminos de Sefarad, Red de Judería en España, alternative way to the Alcázar. You have some signs to discover what is the Jewish Quarter. This is the wall from outside, from Corpus Christi Church, that was the synagogue. Perhaps that windows belongs to the rabbi's house. Who don't know? Who knows? Yes. You can see from outside. Now you have different buildings, but this was the entrance of the synagogue. This is the garden. And here, yes, old mayor synagogue of Segovia. But in fact, nowadays it's a church. I was walking, I recorded there a video just saying Shabbat Shalom to you. This is the internal garden that in the past was the synagogue. Nowadays, it's a church. Other places where you can find the word Sefarad. This is from outside. This is one of the walls of the city of Segovia, and here is the synagogue. You can see the synagogue from outside, and this was the way and the gate to go to the cemetery. This part is outside the city, and here you enter to the old city. Okay, I'm thinking that we wrote this. Yes, it's the same text. Narrow streets, but very nice. They're really the Spanish people and also the Portuguese people, they invest a lot of money to preserve the old towns. And you can see here the cathedral, the main square of the city. Any question, any commentary till now?
Si crees que puede ser algo grave.
Sorry. Let me show you another thing that for me it's very important. Let me tell you and let me show you about the rabbis in our time. Just to see the splendor and how important. This is the timeline of important Spanish rabbis. We have Rabbi Moshe ben Maimonides. It's very common to say in Hebrew, Memoshe ad Moshe lo kam af echad ke Moshe, from Moses to Moses, from Moses in the Bible till Moses. Rabbi Moshe ben Maimon from Spain. There is no other one like Moses. Rabbi Moshe ben Maimon was born in Córdoba in 1138, and he died in 1204. Later on, he went till Egypt, one of the greatest Jewish philosophers legalists, and physicians, wrote the Mishneh Torah, a comprehensive code of Jewish law, also known for his philosophical work, The Guide of the Perplexed. Other rabbi that was really very, very famous, Rabbi Moshe ben Nachmanides. He was born in 1194. He died in 1270. He was from Girona, from Catalonia, a leading Talmudist, Kabbalist, and biblical commentator, defended Judaism in the famous Disputation of Barcelona, emigrated to the land of Israel in his later years. We have also Rabbi Shlomo ben Aderet, Rashba, 1235, 1310, a discipline of Ramban, based in Barcelona, one of the most prolific Talmudic commentator and halachic authorities in Sefarad, wrote hundreds of responsa that shape Jewish law. Responsa, it was a way, like an answer. Yes, in that time it was not internet, computer, and then rabbis used to send letters with questions about Jewish law for the famous rabbis or for the important rabbis, and the rabbis used to answer and send the answer, and this took a lot of time, and we call these letters responsa. Till today, we call this Jewish law, Jewish answer about specific questions, responsa. We have also Rabbi Yitzhak Alfasi, Rif. The rabbis were known by the first letter of their names, Rabbi Yitzhak Alfasi, Rif, 1013, 1103. He was born in Morocco. He spent the final years of his life in Lucena, in Spain, author of the Talmudic Digest that was a major precursor to the later codes like the Mishneh Torah. Other famous rabbi, Rabbi Joseph Ibn Magish, student of Rif and teacher of Maimonides' father, respected halachic authority in Lucena. Halachic, remember, is the Jewish law. Rabbi Abraham Ibn Ezra. Ibn, it was like in Arabic, Ibn, Ben, okay? Son of. Rabbi Abraham Ibn Ezra, son of Ezra, 1089, 1167, born in Tudela in Spain, renewed biblical commentator, poet, philosopher, and astronomer. His commentaries on the Torah are still studied. Rabbi Yehuda Levi, 1075, 1141, also from Tudela, a major Hebrew poet and philosopher, author of the Kuzari, a famous book, a philosophical work defending Judaism, famous for his longing for Zion and his Aliyah attempt late in life. Rabbi Hasdai Kreskas, 1340, 1410, from Barcelona, philosopher and critic of Maimonides, rationalism, author of Or Hashem, the Light of the Lord, defended Judaism during the time of Christian persecution. Rabbi Isaac Campanton, 1463, known as Gaon of Castile, helped preserve Judaism learning in Spanish in decades before the expulsion. Don Isaac Abravanel, 1437, 1508, philosopher, biblical commentator, statesman, played a political role in the Spanish court before the expulsion, fled to Italy after 1492, and became the prominent Jewish leader in exile. Okay, there are some names, and why am I talking about this rabbi? Just to have an idea of the splendor of the Jewish Spain community. Yes, names that gave us important books. Until today, we continue to study the books. Okay, this is the second part of our meeting, and now I would like to share with you this nice video when we can watch different cities from Europe, not just from Spain. And Yoran Gaon is speaking Ladino, but you will see the translation in the bottom, and you can hear also very nice and famous songs in Ladino that we know till our days. Just a minute, let me find the appropriate screen. I have many open screen, just a minute. Where is Yoran Gaon? Okay, I found Yoran Gaon.
Aquí en Toledo, España, vivieron los padres de mis padres. Tenemos una tradición en mi familia que aquí, en esta plaza donde estoy ahora, fue quemado uno de mis abuelos por haber quedado fidel a la religión judía. Durante más de 500 años, hasta su expulsión en 1492, hubo aquí judíos que se distinguieron por su vida familiar y comunitaria bien organizada, también por su remarcable actividad de creación cultural, según vemos en esta magnífica sinagoga fraguada por Samuel Halevi Abulafia. Ellos estaban aquí, mas sus pensarios estaban en el este, en Jerusalén. Según lo expresó tan bien el más grande poeta de los judíos de España, Rabbi Yehuda Halevi, cuando escribió: ¿cómo puedo tomar gusto de lo que como cuando mi corazón está en el oriente y yo a la fin del occidente. Judeo español. La única propiedad que mis abuelos podían tomar con ellos afuera de la España después de la expulsión. Así duró esta lengua hasta nuestros días. En ladino, nuestros padres imprimieron la traducción de la Biblia, la Haggadah de Pesach y toda la literatura religiosa judía. Con la voz y las melodías de esta lengua, seguiremos los judíos sefardíes en todos los países donde se asentaron a la orilla del mar Mediterráneo después de su expulsión de la península ibérica. Italia, el Imperio Otomano, que incluía la Turquía, los países del Balcán y el Oriente Medio, incluso la tierra de Israel. Una parte de los expulsados se dirigió a África del Norte, especialmente al Marruecos. Algunos de ellos atravesaron el océano y llegaron al nuevo mundo que venía de ser descubierto. 100 años después de la expulsión, los descendientes de los expulsados llegaron al norte de Europa, clima y cultura diversos. Ellos fundaron florescentes comunidades en Francia, Ámsterdam, Anvers y Hamburgo. En el siglo XVII, ellos llegaron a la Inglaterra también. En todos estos lugares mantuvieron las tradiciones judías. Uno, dos, tres. Tres estrellas apercibidas en el cielo al anochecer anuncian la salida del Shabbat. Mas en mi chiquez yo no entendía por qué mi padre me defendía de contar estas tres estrellas apuntándolas con el dedo. Es más tarde solo que empecé que años atrás la gente de la Inquisición descubría de esta manera, entre muchas otras, los conversos que observaban en secreto los mandamientos de la ley judía. La tendencia a cavilarse del peligro de la Inquisición no se desapareció entonces, aunque ya pasaron 500 años. Y según lo vemos, ella se consiente ainda en Jerusalén mismo, donde yo nací como hijo foro, libre del espanto del otro de fe.
derecha Mijael y a la sierra
La expulsión de los judíos de España fue precedida por años de graves persecuciones religiosas y económicas que se enfurecieron ainda más cuando fue fundada la Inquisición en 1481. La Inquisición perseguía sobre todo los conversos, los judíos que habían sido forzados a convertirse, mas que en su foro interior habían quedado fieles al judaísmo. Fueron los reyes católicos Fernando y Isabela que, rindiéndose a las presiones de la Inquisición, firmaron el 31 de marzo de 1492 el orden de expulsión de la España. En el intervalo de 3 meses, unos 200.000 judíos tuvieron que salir de este país. La leyenda cuenta que ellos salieron todos juntos en el 9 de Av, el día del dolio nacional del pueblo judío, siendo que en este día fueron destruidos el primer y el segundo templo. Me parece que arrancándose de la península ibérica, se toparon mis abuelos en galut betoch galut, quiere decir en exilio dentro exilio.
¿Hasta cuándo tu paloma encarcelada y el lazo enlazada y el lazo enlazada y el lazo enlazada, mezquina y desdichada y sin sus hijos?
Maimónides, que vivió en el siglo XII, fue uno de los más grandes filósofos de la Edad Media. Sabio en derecho religioso judío, teólogo, médico y líder comunitario. Rabbeinu Moshe ben Maimón nació aquí en Córdoba. Tuvo que irse en seguida a las persecuciones de los musulmanes fanáticos. Vivió después en Fez, en Marruecos, y en Fustat, cerca del Cairo. Como médico, él fixó reglas de dieta y de actividad física en su libro de la ciencia, que lo escribió 800 años atrás. Como teólogo, filósofo, él es el autor del célebre libro Moreh Nevuchim, Guía de los Perplexos.
Cuando la reina la cara tan delgada. Ella sabía el bien que tenía. Padre marino, Padre querido, Padre bendito, luz de Israel. Padre marino, Padre querido, Padre bendito, luz de Israel. Maimónides está enterrado aquí en Tiberia, en la tierra de Israel, el lugar donde obraron 400 años más tarde Dona Gracia Méndez y Don Yosef Nassi, el duque de Naxos. Una ciudad vecina, Safed, floreció también en el siglo XVI y alcanzó su culminación transformándose en el centro más célebre de la Kabbalah. Es interesante de notar que la cuna de la Kabbalah fue en la ciudad de Girona, cerca de Barcelona, donde que empezó en el siglo XI el movimiento místico judío. Cuando el rey Nimrod al campo salí, graba en el cielo y en la estrella, vi luz santa en la judería, me había de nacer Abraham Avi. Padre marino, Padre querido, Padre bendito, luz de Israel. Padre marino, Padre querido, Padre bendito, luz de Israel. La historia le agrada a veces divertirse con las datas. 3 días después que salieron de España los últimos judíos que habían refusado de convertirse, Cristóbal Colón partió del puerto de Palos con sus 3 carabelas, Santa María, Pinta y Niña, en dirección del Nuevo Mundo. Esto abrió a los conversos y a los expulsados Nuevos Orientes. Ellos llegaron hasta Perú, México, Curazao, Surinam, Barbados y en Norteamérica, Nueva Ámsterdam, más tarde Nueva York, donde fundaron en 1654 la primera comunidad judía de esta ciudad. El sentimiento de libertad consentido ahí por los judíos en general y por los sefardíes más particularmente fue expresado en el siglo XVIII por la poetesa Emma Lázaros de la comunidad sefardí norteamericana, que los últimos versos de su soneto El Nuevo Coloso fueron grabados en una placa a los pies de la Estatua de la Libertad en Nueva York. Vuestros profes cansados, dadme vuestros profes cansados, vuestras masas ansiosas de respirar aire, de
El sentimiento de libertad de los judíos es muy bien expresado en cada seder de noche de Pesach, en todas las comunidades judías. Aquí, en América, así que en Fez, en Jerusalén, en Ámsterdam, en Buenos Aires y muchos otros lugares más. Son cantados los mismos cantes y son recitados los mismos textos que reflejan el amor a la libertad. Los bilbilicos cantan, suspiran del amor y la pasión me mata, muchico a mi dolor y la pasión me mata, muchico a mi dolor. Es curioso que algunos usos de los conversos son observados entre los judíos hasta hoy día. No puedo olvidarme de un seder en Jerusalén con mi padre a la cabecera de la mesa y nosotros todos a su alrededor, y con los libros de la Haggadah de Pesach sobre nuestros ginollos. Más tarde envecí que este es un uso antiguo de nuestros padres, que hemos visto seguramente de los conversos que tornaron al judaísmo, juntándose a una de nuestras comunidades. El punto de este uso era a la vista de poder esconder las Haggadot de Pesach si los espiones de la Inquisición sorprendían a los conversos durante el seder. Durme, durme, mi angelico, i cico de tu.
Okay, this is the first part of this fantastic video that called From Toledo to Jerusalem. I suggest to watch the entire video. We don't have time, but I wanted just to introduce. It touched me a lot. This part to see the Sephardic life in New York City in the 1060s. It's a really very nice synagogue just in front of the Central Park in the upper west side. Very, very nice scene. Yes, Susan.
It's beautiful.
Yes, do you remember?
It's just wonderful.
It's wonderful. And the most important thing is that they continue to pray in the Sephardic way. They didn't change nothing, and they have, it's different. It's not Ashkenazi, and this is not Reform, and this is not conservative, and this is not Orthodox. It's the Sephardic way to pray, and it's really very impressive. If you have the opportunity when you visit New York City, when you visit Manhattan, try to visit the Sephardic synagogue. We had in this last video perhaps an idea about the splendor of the Jewish community. This last synagogue if I'm not wrong, it's the synagogue in Amsterdam. You can see the candles. It was not any other way to have light in that time. They put candles in each chair, and it was really very, very nice to see. You can visit also this synagogue in downtown Amsterdam in Holland or Netherlands. But the most important thing is one time one student who came to visit me, he asked, why you as a Jewish community, you are spread all around the world? Why? It was not our choice. We were expelled for many places, and we tried to find a country or cities when we could live in peace. And this is the reason that we are in the Caribbean area, South America, North America, Europe, and of course in Israel. Most of the Sephardi culture disappeared during the Shoah, during the Second World War, because it was not a big number of Jews, and most of them were killed by the Nazis. But it's important that they recover this culture through the songs and through the Ladino, and also in the museum. Nowadays they call the museum Anu. It means we, the translation. It was the diaspora museum inside the Tel Aviv University, that they recreate in some places old Sephardic synagogues. I didn't visit the new museum because they rebuilt the museum, the Beit HaTfutzot, the Diaspora Museum. I didn't visit, perhaps in my next visit to Israel, but I remember that they recreate in the regular size Sephardic and different synagogues around the world. But the heritage is really very, very important. In the rabbinical seminaries, we sit and we study many of these Spanish rabbis. Then the culture's still alive, and Rambam Maimonides did something fantastic for his time. When we are talking about commandments, when we are talking about mitzvot, we can summarize the mitzvot in 613 commandments. And this is something that Maimonides, Rambam, Rabbi Moshe Ben Maimon from Cordoba wrote. And this is part of the legacy. And when we are talking and we are teaching nowadays, Carolee, about the commandments, we need to remember Maimonides. It's impossible nowadays to study the mitzvot without mention Maimonides, and many old Agadot also that we can use during the Passover holiday that came from Spain. Girona, it's another impressive place to visit. There are also something in common between Toledo and Jerusalem. It's a city built around walls, okay? And you have high walls around the city that reminds you Jerusalem. It's very, very nice and very rich. And as Rabbi Chaim Casas mentioned, during the history, they tried to erase any evidence of Jewish culture. And in the last years, they tried to recover this memory and rebuild and show the Jewish quarters. And Spain as a country understood how important it is to recover the Jewish memory in the different cities, and especially in the old towns. Nowadays, the Spain government is completely against Israel. It's not friendly, not just the Spain government, but this prime minister, it's not very friendly from Israel. And then after October 7th, 2023, there are many countries who had a relationship. For example, Barcelona have a relationship with Tel Aviv, like a sisterhood city, and they changed completely. And you can see how Barcelona government and Catalonia, they support the Palestinians. But anyway, in my last visit to Madrid, I spent a night and I gave a lecture to the Reform community. It's really a very small community. And I met many Argentinian immigrants who moved to Spain in the 80s, because it was the time of the dictatorship in Argentina, and they moved, and they are an important part of the Jewish Spain community. The same happened in Barcelona. The Reform community in Barcelona, for example, developed a program in the last years to support Jewish who came from Ukraine. The World Union for Progressive Judaism gave some resource to the Barcelona Reform community, and they receive many Ukraine Jews. This is, but it's not a big community. It's just a couple of roads from La Sagrada Familia, one of the most famous churches in the world. In Barcelona, the Jewish synagogue is there, but they are taking care because anti-Semitism is growing up in Europe, and you can see a great or a big number of Jewish. Perhaps the assimilation is also big in Spain, but it's a community who have an important history, and one of the ways to discover this history, it's a meeting like this. Okay, I try to show you a little bit from this amazing history. We need also to remember the splendor of the Jewish Spain community and the good relationship with the Muslims during 100 years. During 100 years, before Fernando, the Catholic king, and Isabella, the Catholic queen, really, before this period, the relationship between Jews and Muslim was fantastic during 1 century. And this is something really very important to remember, to show that we can live in peace with Muslims. And Spain, it's the place to show this when we study the history. We can, any other thing that we can add about the Sephardi culture, we have many nice recipes from the Sephardic kitchen, and many nice traditions. You saw the way to read the Aggadot during the Passover under the table, and not to put the Aggadah on the table just because they remember the Inquisition time. It was really a very hard time. Perhaps in another time, in another opportunity, in another meeting, I will show you the Inquisition in Portugal. I visited also Lisbon, and it's a church. It was an important conversation that I had with the Bishop of Lisbon, and one of the first things that he said, he apologized with the Jews who were in the group for the Inquisition. And nowadays you can see some monuments that remember us this bad time, this terrible time. You had just three options: or you convert to Catholicism, or you leave the peninsula, or you can be a Marrano, Anusim. You can live a Jewish life in secret, but in public you was a Christian. And many Jews became important personalities from the Catholic Church, but they still Jewish at home, but outside they were perhaps fathers, or they became bishops, but they still inside Jews. And this is what we call Marranos, Bnei Anusim. And it's really very curious, because in Brazil, the country that I come in, many people who arrived from the peninsula, they had, or they discovered Jewish roots. And there are a lot of Brazilian who try to convert to Judaism because they discover their Jewish roots, that they are coming from this period, from the Inquisition time, especially in the northeast of Brazil. Many entire communities from Marranos that nowadays they are trying to study Judaism, to have a certificate that shows that they are 100% Jews. Okay. Any questions, commentaries?
That was very, very interesting.
Yes, I agree.
Very.
I agree too.
The idea in next meetings, it's to visit different communities, to talk with rabbis or professors or just citizens for the places, to discover the history, but also the present, to make a bridge between us here in Riverside, America, with our brothers and sisters in other Jewish communities around the world. I would like to thank for your attention, for your participation, and
Thank you, Rabbi. That was
Thank you.
I hope to see you in our next adult education meeting, but also tomorrow during our service. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thanks,
One important thing, I would like to dedicate this meeting, this class, for the holy memories of Yaron and Sarah, who were killed yesterday in Washington, D.C. I really appreciate that Marcia, yesterday evening, she sent me a message, and I couldn't believe that things like this can happen in Washington, D.C., and can happen here in America. Okay, let's pray for peace, and let's pray for respect for our people and for any other people around the world.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Thank you very much for your attention.
Good night. Thank you.
Yeah.